Who did? Was it Reg?
Where can I find him? Maybe Jake's crib.
Is that him?
Yep.
Matrimony. Don't say shit. Because they don't give a damn about what you think because this is their life.
Tired of being sick.
The episode opens with chaos brewing quietly beneath the surface. Damien is spiraling, Emmett is restless, and Reg is getting more dangerous by the minute. But it all starts with a foolish bet, the kind of bet that sounds like fun at first, but ends in blood. Damien, already unstable and impulsive, puts $5,000 on the line during a casual basketball trivia challenge with Reg. It might have seemed like a harmless game, but it turns out to be a move that sets everything else in motion. Reg, cunning and always looking for a weakness, saw right through Damien, knew he was desperate, emotional and vulnerable, and instead of showing mercy, he used it. The question about Michael Jordan's flu game seemed easy to Damien, but he answered wrong. That moment, that single mistake, cost him everything. Reg doesn't play games without consequences, and he gave Damien a strict deadline to come up with the money or get dealt with. Damien runs around the city begging people for cash, showing just how low he's fallen. It's pitiful and yet painful to watch. What's worse is that in his desperation, he crosses a line he never should have. He tells Barry about private cancer diagnosis, something Darnell had trusted him with. Damien sells out someone else's pain, just to get a few more dollars in his pocket. That moment proves not just that Damien is desperate, but that he's reckless. He'll do anything to avoid the beating he knows is coming. But no matter how hard he tries, the money he collects still falls short. And Reg, he's not the kind of man you show up short with. This storyline is about more than just money. It's about dignity, respect, and the choices people make when their backs are against the wall. Damien didn't just lose the bet. He lost the respect of everyone around him. And Reg, he's not done yet. But Damien isn't the only one under pressure. Over in another corner of the city, Emmett is dealing with his own emotional storm. Tiffany has moved on. Victor is stepping in where Emmett once stood. And even though Emmett tries to act like it doesn't bother him, the pain is written all over his face. Victor and Tiffany's chemistry is real, and it's heating up fast. They go out, laugh together, and by the time the night ends, Victor gets his kiss. But someone's watching Alicia from the shadows. And while she may seem calm on the surface, her eyes tell another story. She knows Tiffany is better off away from Nuck, and maybe she sees Victor as a safer choice. But in the Chi, there's no such thing as safe. The most heartbreaking part of this section, though, comes from Darnell and Jada. Their storyline brings the emotional weight this episode needed. Darnell, struggling with the possibility of losing Jada, pours his heart out in a grief group. That's where he meets Riley, a new character, who brings warmth and honesty. But Jada isn't interested in hope anymore. She's tired. The cancer, the chemo, the constant fight. It's worn her down. She doesn't want to keep pushing. She wants peace. Darnell begs her to keep going, to believe that there's still time left. But Jada tells him the truth. Sometimes, the fight isn't worth the pain. And as viewers, we feel that. The sadness, the realism, it hits hard. Not every battle ends in victory. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is let go. While that emotion hangs in the air, Damien continues to burn bridges. He lies, manipulates, and hustles, all just to avoid Reg's wrath. But the beatdown still comes, and it's brutal. Reg doesn't hold back. The debt wasn't paid, and now the price is blood. Hannibal barely stops Reg from killing Damien right there in the street. Damien crawls away, broken and humiliated. And when he tells Emmett what happened, something snaps. Emmett, already drinking, already angry, decides to take matters into his own hands. He marches right over to Reg's spot and lets his fists do the talking. But fists don't beat bullets. Reg, humiliated by the public beating, pulls the trigger. And just like that, Emmett falls. The screen fades. Blood is on the ground, and the chi has changed forever. The moment that bullet hit Emmett, everything froze. It wasn't just another gunshot. In the neighborhood, it was personal. It was a direct blow to the heart of the chi. Emmett isn't just another character. He's a symbol of growth, love, mistakes, and redemption. Watching him fall to the ground was like watching the soul of the show bleed out in front of us. Red didn't think, he reacted. That's what makes it worse. This wasn't a premeditated hit. It was heat of the moment, pride-driven violence. He was losing in that fight. Emmett had the upper hand. For a split second, Reg looked human, defeated, embarrassed, vulnerable, and in that moment of weakness, he did the only thing that gave him control again. He pulled the trigger. The look on Reg's face afterward said it all. He wasn't ready for what he did. Even though he pulled the gun, even though he fired the shot, the shock in his eyes showed he didn't fully realize what was coming. Because once that bullet left the chamber, there was no going back. Emmett was left lying there, still bleeding. No words, no fight left in him. The man who had survived every heartbreak, every hustle, every family crisis, now needed a miracle to survive this. And what hurts the most? It wasn't an enemy that did it. It was someone from his own world. The fallout from this shooting will be massive. Everyone is going to feel it. The streets talk, and in the Chi news, travels fast. Once people find out. Reg shot Emmett, not in a shootout, but in cold, reckless rage. There's going to be war. Let's not forget, Emmett has people who love him. People who will go to the ends of the earth for him. Kesha, Darnell, Victor, Papa Keisha, especially has been his backbone. They've been through hell and back, and even when things were shaky between them, she never gave up on him. The moment she finds out what happened, the storm is coming. Darnell, to a man who's already drowning in the fear of losing Jada, now has to watch his son fight for his life. That kind of pain pushes people to the edge. And Victor, who just tried to be open about his feelings with Emmett, might feel the guilt of being with Tiffany while his friend was getting shot. That type of guilt can break a man, or it can fuel revenge. Meanwhile, Reg might be feeling regret, but that won't be enough to stop what's coming for him. The streets don't care about regret. They care about power, about loyalty, about honor. And Reg broke all of that with one shot. But here's where it gets complicated. Reg isn't alone either. He's got people, allies. He's smart, strategic. He knows the city, knows how to move. That means this situation won't be simple. It won't be a clean get Reg, fix the problem situation. It's going to be layered betrayal, alliances, lies. And while all of this violence brews, Jada's story continues in the shadows. The heartbreak is double now. Darnell just told her to fight for her life, to not give up on hope. And now, in the same breath, he might be losing his son. It's like the universe is testing his soul, breaking him piece by piece. But JadaWise.com and Spiritual might be the one who helps hold Darnell together when everything else falls apart. Maybe this isn't just about her death anymore. Maybe it's about showing him how to survive when everything else seems lost. On the other side, Damien is a broken man, physically beaten, mentally drained, and now emotionally shattered, watching Emmett bleed because of something that started with his stupid bet. That's going to haunt him. He may not have pulled the trigger, but he lit the fuse. And now, even with all his flaws, he's going to feel the guilt. The weight of Emmett's shooting spreads across every corner of this episode. Everyone is affected. Even Alicia, who was watching Tiffany and Victor earlier, she knows what violence can do. She's seen what power struggles can destroy. And she's watching all the wrong pieces fall into place. Felicia Rashad's character, Renee, might be new, but even she adds depth to this moment. Her words from earlier about generations, pain, and knowing when something is doomed, it hits harder now. Because this, right here, is the kind of pain that shapes a generation. This episode isn't just about one act of violence. It's about how that act cracks the foundation of an entire community. How a single moment of anger can explode into a war no one's ready for. While Emmett bleeds and the city holds its breath, other secrets continue to tear lives apart. And one of the most painful truths, still hanging over everything, is Jada's. She's dying, and hardly anyone knows. Darnell knows, Damien knows, and unfortunately, he ran his mouth. But Emmett, the son who deserves to know most, he's still in the dark, and time is slipping away. This silence, this heavy, emotional silence, is eating away at Jada's family. She wants to protect her son, give him peace, let him live without the burden of knowing her time is limited. But now, with Emmett lying in a hospital bed, possibly clinging to life, that choice might be taken from her. And Darnell, he's crumbling under the weight of it all. In the grief group, we saw his walls come down. We saw his vulnerability, his fear, his desperation. That wasn't just a man afraid of loss. That was a man watching his world fall apart and feeling powerless to stop. His conversation with Riley added another layer to this emotional storm. Riley isn't just the one-time side character. She represents a spark of hope, of connection, of moving forward. But how can Darnell move forward when the woman he's loved for years is slowly dying, and now his son might not wake up? This is the brilliance of the Chi. It doesn't just focus on street violence or romantic drama. It peels back the emotional layers, forces us to sit in the quiet moments of suffering. Jada's decision to stop treatment isn't just a medical choice. It's a reflection of years of exhaustion, of wanting to feel like a person again instead of a patient. She's not giving up, she's letting go. And that's a powerful, painful thing to watch. Meanwhile, Damien is digging himself into a deeper hole. After being beat nearly to death by Reg, and then watching Emmett fall from the same man's rage, Damien is starting to realize just how serious everything has become. And even worse, how much of it is connected to him. You see, Damien isn't evil. He's not heartless, but he's messy. He talks too much. He acts without thinking. He's impulsive. And now he's paying the price. Every action he's taken has caused damage, not just to himself, but to the people around him. Going to Jada for money was one thing, desperate, maybe forgivable, but revealing her illness to Bari just to collect another stack. That was betrayal. That wasn't just a violation of privacy, it was a violation of trust. And now, everyone is going to feel the ripple effects of that betrayal. Even Bari, who's already under pressure from his professors, is now carrying emotional baggage that wasn't his to hold. Professor Gardner tried to warn the dean that Bari was slipping, that he was falling under the weight of expectations, distractions, and unearned opportunities. And now, with this new emotional storm dumped on him, he's bound to collapse. Let's talk about that situation more clearly. Gardner knows Bari didn't get his scholarship entirely on merit. There are strings attached, Alicia's influence, connections that raised eyebrows, and that's the kind of thing that gets exposed when pressure hits hard. If Bari can't pick himself up, if he can't focus, he could lose everything. The opportunity, the education, his future. And all because the people around him keep using him as a dumping ground for their emotional mess. The Kai's writing here is clever. It shows us how secrets don't just affect one person, they bleed into everything: school, relationships, respect. And the more people try to hide the truth, the more toxic the environment becomes. Now let's jump back to Alicia. She's been watching Tiffany and Victor. She sees something forming between them. And it's clear she prefers Victor over Nuck. Why? Because she knows Nuck is dangerous. She's lived in that world, and she doesn't want her daughter dragged into it again. But there's a problem. Tiffany is still emotionally connected to Emmett, and that's not something you just walk away from. No matter how much she laughs with Victor, no matter how new and exciting he is, part of her still has love for Emmett, and now, with Emmett possibly fighting for his life, that buried love is about to resurface. Guilt, regret, pain, all of it is about to hit Tiffany like a tidal wave. She may have chosen to move forward, but her past just became a battlefield. Victor, for his part, is walking a fine line. He respects Emmett. He even tried to let him know about the growing connection with Tiffany. But what do you do when the man you just talked to about your love life ends up shot hours later? The guilt that will eat at Victor is real. Even if he had nothing to do with the violence, he's now entangled in it emotionally. And it's going to test his relationship with Tiffany in ways they never expected. Back in the shadows, Nuck is making dangerous moves of his own. His secret meetings with Detective Tucson are becoming more frequent. The deal is simple: help her bring Reg down, and she help him stay on top. But Tucson isn't someone you trust easily.